We'll chant the verse 23 together, so I'll just read 18 to 22. Please hear. Translation. Outside the ocean of clarified water is another island known as Brahmachatri, which has a width of 1,600,000 yojana, 12,800,000 miles, twice the width of the ocean of clarified water. As Kushavi is surrounded by an ocean of clarified water, Brahmachatri is surrounded by an ocean of milk, as broad as the island itself. On Brahmachatri, there is a great mountain known as Brahmacha, from which the island takes its name. Yoso Rupa Naharano Matita Nitamba Rukyo Api Shiro Dena Sijamano Bhagavata Varuni Navi Utto Vivayo Kaputa. Although the vegetables living on the slopes of Mount Brahmacha were attacked and devastated by the weapons of Kartikeya, the mountain has become fearless because it is always bathed on all sides by an ocean of milk and protected by wilderness. Asame Nandi Praiva Praiyavrato Vidha Krishna varshani sapta vibhajya eshu putra nasu sapta riktatan varshapan viveshya swayam bhagavan bhagavata parama kalyana yashasa atmanutasya adishcharanarvindam vajadan. The ruler of this island was another son of Maharaj Priyavrata. His name was Vrindavan, and he was a very learned scholar. He also divided his own island among his 7 sons. After dividing the island into 7 parts, namely according to the names of his sons, Vrindavan Maharaj completely retired from family life and took shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, the soul of all souls, who has all auspicious qualities. Thus he attained perfection. Amo Madhuro Megha Krishna Sudama Prajishto Lohitarno Vanaspati Iti Krita Krishna Sutta Tesham Varsha Giraya Sapta Saptai Vanadaya Javiyakhyata Shuklo Vardhamano Bhojanam Upavari Nando Sarvato Bhadra Iti Abhaya Amritoga Aryaka Tirthavati Rupavati Pavitrovati Shakareti. The sons of Maharaj Vrindavan were named Ama, Madhurva, Megha, Sudama, Rajishta, Lohitarna, and Vanaspati. In their island, there are 7 mountains, which indicate the boundaries of the 7 tracts of land. And there are also 7 rivers. The mountains are named Shukla, Vardhamana, Bhojana, Upavarina, Nandana, and Sarvato Bhadra. The rivers are named Abhaya, Amritoka, Aryaka, Tirthavati, Rupavati, Pavitravati, and Shukla. 22. Yasa Manga Pavitram Amaram Upayunjan Jana Purusha Vishva Ravinam Devaka Sanya Varsha Purusha Apo Mayam Daivam Prapa Purne Anjali Yajante. The inhabitants of Brahmacharya are divided into 4 castes called the Purusha, Rishabha, Dravina, and Devaka. Using the waters of the sanctified rivers, they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by offering a palm full of water at the lotus feet of the Lord, the demigod who has a form of water, purple. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Apurmaya Asmaya. We join palms, the inhabitants of the various sections of Brahmacharya offer the sanctified waters of the rivers to a deity made of stone or iron. Text number 23. Please repeat. Apa Purusha Viryastha Nati Purvasva Tana Punikami Srishatam Atmana Purvati Purusha Viryasta Nanti Purva Subha Dana Punita Ivagani Vishatam Atmana Please. Purusha Vidya, endowed with the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sta, you are Punanti, sanctifying, Bhu, of the planetary system known as Bhu. Bhuva, of the Bhuva planetary system. Suva, of the Swa planetary system. Tava, that water. Now, of us, Punita, purified. Amiva Gni, who destroys sin. Prishatam, of those touching. Atmana, by your constitutional position. Bhuva, the body. Iti, thus. Jai Shri Gauritai, Shri Krishna Balaram, Shri Radha Shri. Translation. The inhabitants of Praunchati worship with this mantra. O water of the rivers, you have obtained energy from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore you purify the three planetary systems known as Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka and Swarloka. By your constitutional nature, you take away sins, and that is why we are touching you. Kindly continue to purify us. Please repeat. O waters of the river, you have obtained energy from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you purify the three planetary systems known as Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka and Swarloka. By your constitutional nature, you take away sins, and that is why we are touching you. Kindly continue to purify us. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 chapter 7, text 4, Mumi Rago Nalo Vayu Ham Mano Juli Evacha Ahankara Itiyam Me Dina Prakriti Ashtada, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and forces. Altogether, these eight comprise my separated material energy. The energy of the Lord acts throughout the creation, just as heat and light, the energies of the sun, act within the universe and make everything work. The specific rivers mentioned in the Shastras are also energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and people who regularly bathe in them are purified. It can actually be seen that many people are cured of diseases simply by bathing in the Ganges. Similarly, the inhabitants of Brahmacharya purify themselves by bathing in the rivers there. Amajnana Vigrahasya Jnanandana Shalavaya Chakshurana Militam Yena Sami Gurave Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namah Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachari Devishesha Shunavadi Paschatadeshadari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gauravaksa Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This chapter, structure of the universe. We are being given a lot of particulars of the structure in terms of ocean, land, the size of the ocean, the size of the land, what kind of ocean, and mountains and rivers, and who is ruling these pieces of land. This is the part where everyone, especially if the background is very deeply steeped in secular education, this is where it challenges that person's belief in the Srimad Bhagavatam, because it does not seem to tally with what he already believes. He looks out into the space in the night and he sees a vast expanse of space with some tiny, tiny, shining light within that darkness. So he wonders, where are these millions of miles of land? Where is it? Where is this ocean? Where is an ocean? In outer space. So, now the interesting thing is, the person who follows the Srimad Bhagavatam and the person who is depending on his empirical knowledge he can acquire by his senses, they're both in the same position. They're both stuck here on earth. They do not have a different situation. It's the same situation. Who is right? There seems to be a difference of opinion. We should first of all consider the secular education first. What is it in essence? They have no more ability to verify their belief than any other person, because they're stuck on earth. They're not able to go with a tape measure and find out anything. It is all while they're sitting here, simply observing, simply observing. So even by empirical knowledge, there is something called projection. Projection means that whatever is something there, it is how it is perceived by you, by your eyes, by your instruments. Just like. There is a tree. But if you have no capacity to see the tree, if you're a little tiny insect, all you see is mostly the shadow of the tree. The shadow of the tree as it falls on you. Sometimes you are in light, sometimes you're in shadow. Your perception of the tree is not three-dimensional because you're a tiny little insect under the shade of the tree. So this process of trying to understand from a perspective above is impossible for a person who is limited to where he is. We are bound only with the sphere of our area. We can move around on this earth planet. That is all we can do. No more. Now, of course, you will have the objection, we have rockets, we have satellites. We'll come to that. But first, start with this point. You are stuck on Earth. And all your perception of this vast universe, the same universe we discussed in the Bhagavad, is simply from where you are. You're relying on your eyes. You're not relying on any source of information. So you make speculation, you make some guesses. How things may be. And then you become confident when you think, oh, this is working out. This is nice. But then sometimes you find there's a mistake. Just like, remember that insect. He has a certain perception of the tree, and then he finds something else. Then his perception changes. So this is our situation. You know this example of the elephant? Blind scientist. How many people have heard of this example? Okay, so most of you have not. How many of you have not heard of this example of an elephant and the blind scientist? Oh, now you know. So blind scientists, they cannot see. One is holding the leg, he thinks it's a tree trunk. One is holding the nose, he thinks it's a snake. Like that. Different parts of the elephant. The scientist thinks this is an elephant, it's a tree trunk. The other one says, no, it's a snake. The elephant is one entity. But because you're blind, you only see what you can see. And therefore it is limited. It is mistaken. It is illusory. And the tendency is, even if you don't know, you will tell everybody, I know, and you will cheat. So there's 4 defects of that. So this is the best we can do. Now, let us see if we can shed some light on the way the Bhagavatam is describing the universe. So, this is a structure with different kinds of oceans, different kinds of material in these oceans. Make ocean, deep ocean, oceans of these different and different huge sizes. So I want to take you back where the fifth candle. Go back to the first candle. Go back to the first chapter. Go back to the first verse. First verse. So instead of distressing, we'll look at that together. O my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because He is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestation. So, first of all, He is the cause of all causes. This is kind of interesting. You're probably thinking, what relevance does this have to the structure of the universe? This verse is describing about a sentient person. You understand the word sentient? A person who is not dead. This is not sentient. But a living being is sentient. It has will, free will. Living. There's dead and there's living. Now, the Bhagavatam is based on the science of the living, not of the dead. And it is not just based on the living, but it is based on the supreme living being. The materialist, he tries to have everything understood in terms of the supreme dead matter, the supreme living force, and the supreme dead matter. Supreme dead matter, atoms, protons, neutrons, quarks, string theory, meaning everything is explained by dead matter. The Bhagavatam, everything is explained by living force, consciousness, personality of Godhead, the supreme personality of God. Are you seeing the distinction here? The perspective of this universe is from the living force. Sometimes people have described the fifth canto, a description of the universe as seen by the demigods. Now, I do not have independent verification of that statement by Prabhupada's words, but I've heard this said. And it may be, but we can say very confidently that the description of the universe is from the point of view of the living force, not from the point of view of dead matter. Very important distinction. The materialist, he looks at this column and he thinks, well, it's a very good column. It has the ability to hold that much weight that it is supporting. It is structurally sound column. You understand? Architecturally, it has got the right kind of iron, cement, and all these things, and all the way that the forces are coming down and is supporting. Another person says, well, there's a weakness because if there's an earthquake, there is no room for movement. You know, all from a dead matter point of view. Bhagavatam will look at this column in a different way. Who made it? The person. He was born in the mode of ignorance, goodness, or passion. What was his objective? What was his motive? Did he think that this column would save him? It questions, it asks questions to do with the living person, not of the dead, the matter itself. The materialist, he looks everything at that matter. Oh, this is a good iPhone because it has a good processor. Because it has all these features, all dead. The living person looks at what are you going to use the iPhone for? What is its use? What is the use of this column? Oh, it's for a temple. Very good. A materialist, he would make a skyscraper building, but it is not for a temple. So spiritual vision, material vision, two different ways of looking. The Srimad Bhagavatam has no interest. Kaita Vatra Dharma. The second verse is that it kicks out cheating religion. It kicks out so-called science, knowledge, which has no spiritual utility, no spiritual purpose. It kicks it out. There is no benefit in knowing something that has no use to you. Here we are learning the structure of the universe in a way that is meaningful. The meaningfulness is this, that every place has a purpose. The earth planet, life on earth has a purpose. The life on Kromcha-3, which is 1,600,000 yojanas wide, has a purpose. Its ocean of the ghee has a purpose. No, actually it's water. Surrounded by an ocean of milk. The land itself surrounds an ocean of butter, ghee, and Kromcha-3 is surrounded by an ocean of milk. So it has a purpose. What is the purpose? The purpose is to worship the Supreme Lord. Now, a question was asked, why, if the purpose of life is to worship Krishna, why is this worship of the demigods going on in these lands? Because the Lord is coming to them in that place, in that form. The devotee learns to appreciate Krishna in the form that he comes, where he is. So the residents of Vrindavan, they are worshipping Varuna as the representative of Krishna, because he is protecting that land in that way. They hope to become purified by fixing the meditation upon him, understanding he has come. You know, this is an argument that Prabhupada would also give. Why are you looking to see Krishna? Why do you not see him in the sun and the moon, in the taste of water? Why do you not see him in the form that he is around you? Why do you say, how do you explain these things? That Krishna has come in this form. And it is not something based on belief, something unverifiable. This is Krishna. But it is in a form that you can appreciate, because you cannot see spirit soul. You see water, you see the sun, you see the moon. That's all you see. You are a jiva who is grasta, who is totally absorbed in material perception. You have not elevated yourself that you can see anything higher. These living entities, they can see higher than the sun and the moon and the taste of water. So they are experiencing God in the way that they can see. So we have knowledge of Krishna, but our daily, moment-to-moment experience is only of our senses. Therefore, the process of devotional service is Atta Shri Krishna Namani, Na Bhavet Raya Indriya, Na Bhavet. You cannot have access to Krishna by your Indriya. But Seva Mukhe Jiva, by Seva, by devotional service, you gain the ability to perceive God. Then you will gain that ability. But right now, all we see is dead matter. See? That's why everyone, even though it's unproven, they believe the material scientists, because it's to do with dead matter. But dead matter is not the true structure of the universe. Just like you are not your nose, your eyes and your ears only. Because when you die, you cannot say, well, he's still there. No, he's not there. Eyes and ears and nose is there. He's not there. This is the difficulty of the materialist. He cannot explain living being. He can explain dead matter. Also that within a certain small area. He cannot explain dead matter in vast distances, in vast periods of time. Only small little laboratory. And even then he makes mistakes. Even then there are many mistakes. But if at all he has any, so it's a very limited form of knowledge. It's the most ignorant form of knowledge. It's ignorance. It is no knowledge. Real knowledge is to be able to understand living being. we cannot appreciate the significance of an alive person, how are we going to appreciate the person, the living force, personality behind this universe? This entire description in the Bhagavatam is to do with the living waters, the rivers, the ocean, the mountains, they're all living. Everything is living. From a spiritual point of view, everything is living. From a materialist point of view, everything is dead. Even we are dead. We think, materialists, the atheists think, you're a dead person who is, they call them, there was one description, they call them moist robots. You're a moist robot. There's some water in this robot. We are robots. So they do not have any shame. Because dead matter does not display all these living things. But they're very insistent to explain it. So they come up with this newer and newer description. This is called deceiving us. Pashyati na pashyati. In front of our eyes, we are seeing evidence of living being. But we try to justify in terms of dead matter. This is the difficulty. And this is the difficulty with which we are conditioned when we read the Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto. We find it challenging. Because we're still believing in our previous education of dead matter. We do not know anything about the life force. So the Srimad Bhagavatam's description of the universe has nothing to do with dead molecules. It has everything to do with the living conscious living entity and the living conscious supreme living entity. And all the living entities who are charged with the representatives of the supreme living entity, the demigods, the devatas. So thank you very much for your patience. Are there any questions or comments? So I just, before finishing, read the translation one more time. The sons, the inhabitants of Brahmajati worship with this mantra. O water of the rivers, you have obtained energy from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore you purify the three planetary systems known as Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka and Svarloka. By your constitutional nature, you take away sins. And that is why we are touching you. Kindly continue to purify us.